When I first started out making videos, I exclusively shot on my iPhone. One big problem that I had in those periods was the fact that whenever I wanted to vlog or film myself by myself, it became extremely difficult. And I think that Shimbol has really done something. This thing actually solves a real problem that I think that almost no one has addressed for the longest time. Let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think that will solve a real pain point for a lot of filmmakers. Now, I often like to remind myself that everybody who watches this channel is not a full-time professional, and some people are still making videos with their phones, and I would still very much like to cater to those people. And one of the biggest problems with mobile filmmaking in general is the fact that you don't have access to the best camera on the phone, which is the one behind you. Because if you are vlogging, for example, and you need to see what you are filming while you're filming yourself by yourself, it becomes extremely difficult to be able to get the POV shot of the camera behind here because the screen is here. This video is not sponsored by Shimbol, but they did send me the CP5 Lite to be able to review and just share my thoughts on it. Now, they've sent this to me now for almost 2 months, but I'm a working professional and I haven't really been able to get to making this review. If you've been following my channel, you see that I've just disappeared for a minute, but I'm back. Let's get to why I think that this might probably be the best mobile phone cinematography accessory that you can get in 2025. But first, I'm just gonna go straight to it. Why is this thing even necessary? At its core, I believe that this device solves a real pain point. If you know anything about filming yourself solo with your iPhone or your Android phones or whatever, you know how frustrating it can be to actually frame yourself properly, make sure that it's in frame, and then you try to go up and take the shot and only to come back and realize, oh, I stepped out of focus or I did something else. Well, this device looks to solve that problem. But before I go on, what exactly is this thing? All right, and I'm just gonna do a quick unboxing. For the most part, this is all you're gonna get. I'm not gonna do anything fancy because once again, I want this to be as straightforward as possible. Ooh, look at that. I do love a good finish on there. I think in the box straight away, this is probably the only thing you get. You get the Shimbol CP5 Lite itself. You get the product manual. You get this, you get cables, and that's it. Simple, straightforward. There's no hassle. This is not one of those videos where you start to do a lot of unboxing and everything. I'm not gonna have a separate angle for that. First impressions, what I do love about this thing is how compact it is. It has just a couple buttons on the side. Focus, folks, don't look at me. As you can see, it has a couple buttons on the side. And the back, you have the Shimbol. And on the front, you have the screen that is a 5-inch external monitor. This is why this piece of gear is really good. First of all, you have here a full HD touchscreen. This is a 5-inch external monitor, which means that you don't have to guess if you're in frame or not. And the way this thing works is by using a wireless transmission. So it also means that there are no cables. It connects via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth up to 164 feet, which is about 50 meters away. It also has shutter control and playback, which means that you can start and stop recording just by using one of the buttons on here. Plus you can also review the clips that you shot. Now it also has audio monitoring because it has this 3.5 mil. Let me try to see if I can get that in focus. It has this 3.5 yeah, right here. It has this 3.5 mil headphone jack that lets you monitor sound, something phones don't usually allow you to do natively. Plus, it also has this USB Type-C here, which you can use for charging and between that. But One of the good things is that this thing can also switch between vertical and horizontal when you are filming. So if you are filming vertical, you go like this. Once you switch it to horizontal, this also optimizes for that and switches. What is the main problem that this thing solves? And I'm gonna turn it on and show you just a couple of things there. The main problem is to frame yourself. This thing helps you see yourself while filming on your iPhone. If I take my iPhone, for example, and I'm not connected yet, and I will probably do that setup real fast, I think that honestly, it's super easy to set up. But in the case of where I have my front facing camera, my rear camera, which is the better camera than the one you have here in front, right? Now, if I'm trying to make a vlog and I do this, what happens is now I lose the screen. And that's where the CP5 comes in by just attaching this, because this thing also has a MagSafe, which, right, it also comes with this MagSafe pouch. So to just go over the specs of what the general thing here is, you can read a lot of this on the Shimbol website, but I'm just going to give you an overview rundown of the things that you need to know. First of all, this thing has a 5-inch full HD touchscreen that shows you a 1080p signals and has about 500 nits of brightness, which means that if you are outside, it is considerably bright. Most monitors that go on professional cameras, they're about 1,000 nits, and this is 500. So you get half of the brightness, which means that in most cases, you're gonna be fine with this thing. The next thing is that this thing has a wireless transmission signal of about 50 meters via Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I will test that in an upcoming video where I will be trying out creative shots on a mobile phone using this thing. Just 5 creative shots that you could possibly do with your mobile phones. The next thing to know about this thing is that it has a built-in Bluetooth that it uses to connect to your phone and acts as a remote control. For a lot of people, once you connect this to your phone and you are away from it, you can start recording, you can stop recording, all from the confines of this thing, which sort of makes it a very flexible tool. So if you don't have an Apple Watch, for example, you can use this to control that, which if you think about it, the Apple Watch is way more expensive than this, but you get a bigger screen, you get a brighter screen, you get Bluetooth control, everything. So, well, I guess what I'm saying is you don't need the Apple Watch, just get this. The fourth thing is that this thing has a micro SD card slot. Why? I still don't see the practical side of things, but according to Shimbol, this can act as a backup storage option if the phone memory runs low or if you have to shoot for a long time. Now, I don't know if it's going to have the same quality as what the iPhone would record, but I foresee that for people who do intensive long recordings, then maybe that might be a really good option for you if you can just dump some of the files on here. The next thing is that this thing has a 3.5mm headphone audio jack, so you can monitor your audio in real time. I don't know if it also works for like sending a mic sound, like sending a signal into the recording via this, but for the most part, I know that it works for monitoring the sound instead of sending the sound, which might be a good point to test out. And the next thing is that this thing can switch between vertical and horizontal. One of the things I can do is to take this and just slap that behind the camera. And as you can see now, I have that extra screen. Now, this makes sense for a lot of solo vloggers, YouTubers, and TikTokers. There are a lot of them right now. This removes the struggle of being able to see yourself when you have to go and constantly reposition, or you rely on mirrors or just guess overall. This takes that away. Actually, let's just turn it on. Let's turn it on now. Let's turn on that CP5 Lite. All right, so this is a use case of when this would really make sense for a lot of things. I'm literally filming myself on my iPhone now, and I can just monitor all of that using the Shimbol CP5 Lite. You saw how easy it was to set this up. It was literally about 6 taps if I think about it, and everything is all set up. So now all I need to do is, if I really wanted to see this, was just attach this to the back of my iPhone like so, and so now I literally can see I'm using my back camera. Yeah, I'm recording, and it's actually showing me that I'm recording here, which is great. This is a gear that I possibly will keep, that I will use, because it's giving me like, yeah, might be able to do some work. And ooh, that's me in the mirror. You can still see, yeah, you can see the CP5 there. You can see the CP5 there. So what I'm really interested is in giving you an objective feedback on whether or not if you should purchase this, or more specifically, why you should actually be thinking about getting this. So I guess the question here is Shimbol actually trying to innovate, or are they just trying to make quick money in the market? And I think that this leans more towards innovation rather than trying to take money from the market. Now, while some people might argue that this is nice, and it's a very niche product, it does address the real concerns for content creators, TikTokers, YouTubers, or people who need that extra angle from their iPhones or from their mobile phones. And especially if you film alone, this is a very good resource that I think a lot of people are going to find useful, especially, once again, if you are a mobile filmmaker, if you do content using your mobile phone. You need this. This is clutch. As much as I think that this looks really great, it does tend to struggle with some firmware issues every now and then. But once again, I think these are things that can be fixed with firmware updates and the other things like that. The core fundamental of what this does is extremely portable. It works well, and I think that it is a great tool to have. So the question now becomes, who is this for? If you are a solo videographer, or you are a content creator or YouTuber, and you want a professional looking setup, especially with your mobile phone accessories and things like that, I think this is great. Think of this as having a wireless transmission for yourself, right? For professional cameras, we have wireless transmitters and things like that. This could actually literally work for your phone. Now, a lot of companies are starting to create content on phones, and this sort of gives you that feed where you're able to focus and frame your shots, and maybe pass this up to like your client to be able to give them a second view as to, oh, this is what we're actually filming, and you get them off your shoulders. So in that way, this sort of gives you the quality of mind that you need to, the peace of mind that you need to have while filming with your mobile phone. The next set of people who will potentially find this useful are people who do reviews and unboxing. Now, if you do unboxings where you need that top-down angle and you want to just slap your phone on there, the thing is, a lot of these phones are now extremely good with cameras. We're seeing more movies being shot on mobile phones and everything like that. Just having this sort of raises that level up a notch, because now you can clearly see what the frame is. You can compose your shot and not have to worry about being off the mark or anything like that. The next set of people that this thing will be good for might be event streamers, people who live stream and things like that, when they can, in one moment they're facing this way, in another moment they're facing that way. So they can actually separate themselves away from the phones and still be able to see exactly what they're doing while they're doing it. People who, for example, place their phone in one part of the room and just try to like walk away and do other things to be in the shot. You need this. You definitely need this. It doesn't mean that because this thing is great, it is for everyone. Every product has its target market and its target user. Who doesn't need this? If you're fine using your front-facing camera on your phone, which I don't understand why anybody would, you don't need this. It means that you do lose out on the quality of your back camera, which, once again, I don't see why you would do that. But if you're okay with your front-facing camera, then you don't have to get this. The next set of people is, if you film with traditional cameras like I do, definitely this is not going to be doing a lot for you in that regard, unless you are somehow going to integrate a mobile phone, your iPhone, your Samsungs and whatever, into your filmmaking setup as like maybe a top-down angle or like a specialty cam or something like that. This thing costs $69 US. Now, is this justifiable? Should you be spending $70 on getting this thing? I think that yes, it is justifiable in certain scenarios. One, if you frequently film alone and you need to see yourself while you are recording, absolutely yes. The second thing is, if you create content for multiple platforms, I'm talking YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, what are the other ones out there? Snapchat and blah, blah, blah. and you want seamless horizontal and vertical framing composition, absolutely get this thing. And I think that if you need remote recording and framing options so that you can see yourself and make sure that you're in focus and you don't want to touch your phone, I think that you should absolutely go for this. And if you do a lot of product reviews, if you do a lot of Amazon reviews, for example, if you do a lot of unboxings or interviews, or you're a mobile filmmaker in general, I think yes, you should totally go for this. Now also, why would this be a waste of money? Why would this be not justified? I think that if you don't mind using the front-facing camera, like I said before, which I still don't see why you would do that, then you don't need to be getting this. If you already have a separate external monitor that you use for your phone, you don't need to get this. If you primarily film in bright outdoor conditions, you don't need to get this, because this will not be bright enough to service your needs. You would just have another piece of gear that you cannot see, that you cannot work. And if you need 100% reliable performance, I think that you might be very careful with this thing, because wireless signals are quite unpredictable, but for the most part, this one seems to work pretty well. Now, overall, for $69, the value to cost ratio on this thing, I think it is decent. If you are a mobile filmmaker, if you create content using a mobile phone, and you need a wireless monitoring solution to keep your gear system light, and you don't want to, bulk up and everything, I feel like this might be a great option for you to explore. If you already have workarounds like an iPad, or you have like one of this Bluetooth shutter control thing, then maybe this might not necessarily give you extreme value in terms of what you get relative to those things, but this definitely is more compact than your iPad or whatever Bluetooth controller that you have. So
I think Shimbol has done a great job with this, and I've actually reviewed their the M5 monitor that I now think is the best 5-inch monitor on the market, and I love the quality of what I'm seeing from this thing. It's not too much, it's not like overly excessively doing things that it's exactly what I would expect from my iPhone to do, and I think that's another benefit to having this thing.
What do you feel about gear like this? Do you think that this is going to be useful for you? Do you think that you should be getting this? Do you feel like mobile phone filmmaking is now becoming more advanced than we initially projected, where companies like this are primarily focusing on making devices that can elevate your mobile filmmaking? And with that being said, let me know what you think in the comments. If you've tried this before, if you've had any experiences with this, please let me know what your expectations were and if they actually met that or if they did not. With that being said, you can share this video to anybody else. Anyway, if you think someone would find this useful, please share it with them. Also, please subscribe, like the video, share the video. It really does help a lot to keep making this content. I've been away for quite some time. It's been a very hectic start to the year. Let me know if you have any questions. Let's talk in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Bye.